Hello everyone, this is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video, and in this video I'm going to be playing some AI Dungeon 2. Some AI Dungeon 2. Hope you guys are hyped. This is going to be a 30-minute AI Dungeon 2 adventure, so let's start up the 30-minute timer. The 30-minute timer has begun. I'm going to double check to make sure that I am recording. I am, and let's jump right into the adventure. You are a wizard. You have been challenged to a deathmatch to determine the world's greatest wizard. You enter a special room that your opponent designated to be the site of your battle, only to realize that the room is filled with runes that only allow your opponent to cast spells. Before you can try to leave, your opponent casts a silent incantation that barricades and locks the door with magic. Your opponent tells you your opponent lets you know that only magic can be used to unlock the door, and since they are the only one who can cast spells while inside the room, they are the only one who can open the door from the inside. You're trapped, and you have to fight your opponent without access to any of your magic spells. Your opponent tells you that if you can survive for 1 hour, then you will be considered the winner of the duel. Okay. So I'm going to mock my opponent by saying, "So you really thought you couldn't beat me fair and square? In a death match?" So it is like an interesting scenario to essentially be like locked in a room with a wizard where you're not able to use spells, but they're using spells and they're trying to kill you. The man looks worried for a second, but quickly composes himself. "Well, then I guess we're on." Your opponent starts laughing and says, I mean, and he's very full of himself to put me on like this dumb trap thing. "Since you seem so confident that you will win this fight, let us make this a little more interesting. If I win, not only will you cease to be a thorn in my side, but your entire village will be at my mercy." What? I'm going to say to my opponent, "Why are you trying to set terms?" You have essentially already like cheated by locking us in a room where only you can use magic. I'm not going to trust anything that you say. This is a battle to the death. Come at me with everything you've got. I won't need magic to straight wipe the floor with you. So I'm going in for like the hard, like no cap, bring it on. Like I just am gonna beat your ass. Because I imagine he's not that good if he like had to set up this like room thing. Your opponent looks worried. "I don't think that is a good idea. I could easily kill you." You stare at him in disbelief. I'm going to laugh at my opponent. I then am going to say to my opponent, "Kill me then. Attack me. You seem all talk. Uh, Come at me, and I guarantee you will die." Yeah, I don't know why. He seems like he's the kind of person to be like super scared to do a tactic like this. So hit me up. Roll up on me, my dude. The man slowly backs away from you. "I don't think so. You're an eternal. You would win for sure." And then it says you begin laughing uncontrollably. So this is actually really weird. I'm going to ask my opponent, So do you surrender? This is so dumb. So he's put me in like the perfect trap or whatever where he can use magic and I can't. And all I'm doing is just saying, okay, bet. Come and hit me then. Slide up and hit me. And he's like, nah, you're too confident. I guess he was hoping that he could bluff me out. You know, he's like, oh, if I bring him in here into this room where he can't use magic, that he just won't be able to do anything and he'll just immediately surrender. But instead, since I didn't surrender, he's like, ooh. He's like, what? What did he say? He can just beat me? So I just scared him, I guess. Your opponent still looks worried. I don't think I can win. You're too powerful. We don't even have an agreement, so there's nothing stopping you from killing me. You start laughing again. This is too much. This guy is scared of you. He is. He's like unnecessarily scared of me. Okay. I'm going to say to my opponent, well, you can't back out now. Come at me. I'll kill you regardless of what you say. You cheated, and now you're going to pay for cheating. I have no power in this room, and I will still massacre you. That's not the right word to be honest. Massacre is legitimately about like killing multiple people. You can't massacre a single person. I will eviscerate you, which I'm about to spell horribly wrong. I'm looking at how I'm spelling it, it's just not right. Except I spelled it right afterwards. I don't know why I added a bunch of extra characters before. But yeah, I'm just gonna kill this guy. I mean, I accepted a death match in the prompt, right? So I already wanted to kill this guy. Your opponent looks scared now. I don't think so. I don't want to fight anymore. You're trying to restrain yourself, but you can't help it. You start laughing again. Now your opponent is really scared. Okay, so I'm just gonna like race toward my opponent. Well, actually, I'm going to run around the room and try to destroy all the runes inside of the room. Yeah, because if I can destroy all the runes, then I can use my magic. You spend the next little while destroying all the runes you can find. Your opponent just watches you but doesn't stop you. Eventually, your hands bleed from all the cutting, but you succeed in destroying every last rune. Okay? Now that I can cast... I'm pretty much going to say to my opponent, are you ready to die? Now that every rune in the room has been destroyed, we can have a proper duel. I now have access to all of my magic spells. Okay, cool. I think we're just about to goot him. It's interesting that I broke them with my fist. It's like my hands are bleeding. So I just run around and I just punched all the runes or whatever. Your opponent starts chanting something. You don't know what he's saying, but you can feel a faint glow coming out of his hands. Suddenly you feel dizzy. You begin to feel lightheaded. You fall down to the floor and suddenly lose all of your strength. Okay. So I'm going to attempt to counter my opponent's spell and reflect its effects back onto my opponent. So let's see if that'll work. Despite being dizzy, you manage to get up and prepare to cast a spell of your own. The problem is, you're not sure what spell he is casting, and the effects are apparent. You begin to feel weak. You try to think of the most powerful thing you can think of. So, I'm dizzy, and I don't know what spell he's casting, so maybe that's making it difficult for me to counter? Okay, you realize that in order to counter your opponent's spell, you must know the name of your opponent's spell. You cast an identify spell to try and learn the name of the spell your opponent cast upon you. Whatever it is, it makes your opponent dizzy and lose all their physical strength, which is pretty good. It's a nice debuff spell, whatever it is. In an instant, you learn the name of the spell. It is Cranium Rippin', a strange combination of two words, but it's the perfect name for it. You reflect the effects of the spell back on your opponent, and he falls over feeling dizzy. Okay, ballin'. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, if all you need to counter a spell is to know the name of it, then Identify is a pretty good spell. Okay. You need to take advantage of this opportunity to take down your opponent while they are, I guess prone would be the best way to describe it. So since my opponent is prone, I just need to do a finishing move, which doesn't really have to be a spell. I'm going to race toward my opponent and attempt to kick them in the face. Because that's pretty much it. I just need to kill him. So it's not like I need to hit him with a lightning bolt or anything. I just need to go in for that strength. You race forward as fast as you can and then stomp on your opponent's face with your boot. You feel a little woozy from the effects of his spell, but it isn't enough to stop you. You begin to laugh uncontrollably as you realize that this fight is all but over. Okay. Cool. I'm going to attempt to stomp my opponent to death, I guess. They're not a very good wizard. They honestly could have probably taken me out if they had just used Cranium Rippin' before I destroyed all the runes. But it seems like I scared them. You continue to stomp in your opponent's face as he tries to push you off. Eventually, you feel his hands go limp, and he is no longer moving. You stand up and hear a bell ringing in the distance. That sound slowly fades away, and the room before you changes. I'm going to look around the room to try and figure out where I am. So what, was there an audience? Did people get to see this? And nobody stopped it? People were like, yeah, I guess homeboy cheated or whatever. The fight's just going to keep going. You look around and see that you're in a completely white room. The floor is white, the walls are white, and there is a large white door on one end of the room. A voice comes out of the air and says, okay, so what'd the voice say? Congratulations! You have reached the end of this test. You will now be provided with a means of egress. The door opens and you see a staircase. So I'm gonna look up what egress is. Or is it egress? The action of going out or leaving a place. Oh, they're giving me an exit is what they're saying. Okay. I'm going to walk through the door. And I don't know if the staircase goes up and down. I mean up or down. And onto the staircase. Yeah, that guy wasn't particularly hard to beat. I wonder if there's a spell you can cast that can make it where your spells can't be identified with the identify spell. That way they'd essentially be like uncounterable. You walk down the stairs and reach a hallway. The hallway is different than the last one you were in. The walls are painted red, and there are several doors lining it. You try to open the doors, but none of them will budge. You wonder if you can create your own exit. Maybe I have like a portal spell or something. You attempt to cast a portal spell to return home. Do 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 do. Nothing happens. You try it again and again, but the result is the same. There must be some sort of block on your magic preventing you from using it in some fashion. Unable to use your magic to create a portal, you try to figure out what to do next. You think that there might be more runes inside this hallway. You look around for any runes in the area and attempt to destroy them all. Yeah, it seems like I'm in like another test. Do 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 bow. You see a pattern of 4 runes, but you aren't able to figure out the magic behind it right now. You keep traveling down the hallway and notice more runes on the wall, but you just can't figure out how to destroy them at all. What? What do you mean I can't figure out how to destroy them? I'm going to attempt to bash apart all of the runes in the hallway with my fist. Like, I don't need to use magic to destroy these runes. Like, just let me hit them. The game is like, you don't know how to destroy runes. It's like I destroyed runes earlier by just punching them. I'm just going to keep punching runes. You try to destroy the runes with your fist, but nothing happens. You press your hand against one of the symbols and it begins to glow. You hear a voice say, "Intruder alert, intruder alert." Okay, I'm going to head back up the stairs and into the white room. Yeah, if the red hallway is bad and you can't open any of the doors and you can't destroy any of the runes, then it sounds like you just don't want to be in the red hallway. You go back to the white room and see that it's starting to change. It turns into a gray room that looks like an old laboratory. You walk around and see several books stacked on a table. You go through them and start reading them. You wonder what's happened. You originally came here to duel a wizard so that you could be named the greatest wizard in the world. Immediately after winning the duel, the location of the battle began to shift and change. You are not sure who is doing this or why. You call out, "Who is there? And why are you manipulating this place?" Yeah, so I'm essentially just going to ask for answers. You hear a noise that sounds like someone flipping a coin. You look around to look, but no one is there. You're about to call out again, and you realize that the voices have begun to quiet down. You can't hear anything at all now. Oh. You wonder if I'm trying to remember what it's called. If a silent spell has been cast. Yeah, has been cast around you. Silent spells are incredibly useful for stopping mages from casting spells with verbal components. That would explain why you now can't hear anything. Because everything inside of the range of a silent spell no longer makes any noise. Whoever is toying with you doesn't want you to cast any magic. Luckily, you know spells that don't require verbal components. You attempt to cast a portal spell to escape back to your home using hand signs rather than magic words. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. I will say, using like a silent spell is worse than doing the rune thing that just stops your opponent from casting spells at all. You concentrate and attempt to open a portal. You quickly make the hand signs for the portal spell. You're about to finish the last hand sign when you hear a laughing noise. You look around, but still don't see anyone. You realize that if you can hear a laughing noise, that the silent spell must have worn off. I'm going to quickly attempt to finish casting the portal spell to try and escape back home. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, because I don't know who's messing with me, but it's probably not a good idea for me to, like, stay to find out. You immediately finish casting your portal spell and fall through the portal, disappearing from wherever it was that you had been. After a moment, you appear back in your home. You are safe. It seems whatever had happened to you has now passed. Okay, awesome. So I'm glad that I was able to escape and win the Wizard Deathmatch. I am now the, I guess the most powerful wizard in the world. But I still don't know who was messing with me after the deathmatch or why. And then I wonder if I will be hunted by whoever the mysterious spellcaster was. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Bow, 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 bow. You are concerned that you may have angered someone enough to try and kill you. You wonder if the person who cast the spell was another powerful wizard. Okay, so we have like 5 minutes left. You wonder if there... Yeah, there has to be a way to be able to destroy runes preemptively. Yeah, so you wonder if there is a spell that can destroy runes in areas before you enter them. the spell would essentially have to always be active and be able to sense if there are any runes in the environment, well, in a nearby area, and cast some kind of destruction spell to get rid of the runes in said area. Yeah, because I don't really like the whole concept of you can walk into a room and someone go, aha, now you just can't use magic in this room. And if you make the runes out of a tough enough material, you can't like punch them. You can't just destroy them. You've got a lot of study ahead. Oh, sorry. You've got a lot of study ahead of you before you're able to come up with such a spell. Okay, so I guess that's what I'll do. So you first research detection spells to try and see what the maximum range of a detection spell is. Because that would be the first component. The spell would need to be able to like detect runes that are not in your current area, the spell in the first place, but in like an area nearby. You begin to research the matter and learn that there are several kinds of detection spells. There are passive detection spells that automatically sense when something enters their range, such as wakefulness, and there are active detection spells that require the user to actively cast a spell first, like hear noise. You think that a passive detection spell would be best. That way, you can automatically detect when runes are nearby. Because that's the first component. Because I guess what you need is like a passive detect spell and then like a passive destroy spell. You decide to start with passive detection spells, since they seem to be the easiest to research. You begin to study every spell, scroll, and tome related to detection that you can get your hands on. You spend weeks studying and memorizing all different kinds of detection spells. Okay, cool. So I'm going to try to identify the best passive detection spell for detecting nearby runes with the largest range. That way you could never find yourself walking into a trap like that in the first place and like ending up in like a rune room. You spend several more weeks studying every possible detection spell. You narrow it all down to 2 spells that seem the most useful for your situation. One is called eavesdrop, that allows the user to hear sounds from far away. Let's see. You don't think eavesdrop would be useful for detecting runes, as runes don't have to make noise. You take a look at the second best spell. Well, I guess you take a look at the other spell for passive detection. Or I guess the other best spell for passive detection. Because I don't really need to, like, hear that our rune is there. I don't really think that's how that works, unless it's like echolocation or something. The other detection spell you think could work is hear noise. Hear noise allows the user to sense sounds in a large area. The only problem with this spell is that it can be fooled if there are no sounds, or if something manages to muffle the sound. You are disappointed that the 2 best passive detection spells are based on hearing. You decide that you need a spell that makes runes around you make noise. And order to make either of those detection spells worthwhile. Yeah, it's like you need a spell that passively makes like all runes in the area like make a special noise. And then you can use something like hear noise or eavesdrop in order to hear that there's like a rune nearby. You decide to research making runes that make noise, since you've not come across the concept before. No. I'm not trying to create new runes. I'm trying to like make the runes around me make a sound. Excuse me. So I'm gonna hit retry on that. Let's see. What? It suddenly gave me like a weird, like, you decide to do something totally different. You think that a spell that activates runes around you would be very powerful. You begin to research spells that could create sound or noise of some kind. You have narrowed down your list to 3 spells: Flame Whistle, Sounding Staff, and Sonorous. I don't want it to activate runes around me, but a spell that makes runes around me make noise. So let's see. So I'm going to look into the spell Sonorous, because that seems to be the most general one. Do 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 do. This spell causes whatever you are casting it on to make a noise whenever pressure is put on it. Okay. Pressure is put on it. I don't know if that one would be useful. I'm going to look into the spell Sounding Staff. Yeah, if I'm close enough to touch the rune to make it make noise, then it may not be worth it. Yeah, it's like I need just something better than what I've seen so far, I guess. These spells kind of suck. This spell causes a staff to emit a loud sound when struck against something. Again, why do all these spells involve like hitting a thing in order to like make sound? Okay, I'm going to look into the spell Flame Whistle, which seems like it's even less likely to be what I want. This spell enchants a whistle to set anything flammable near it on fire when it's blown. Okay, so none of the sound spells you found seem useful for what you're trying to do. You decide to pivot to studying passive destruction spells. You hope that there is a passive spell for destroying specific types of targets in an area. Because if there is, then you could cast that, have it specifically target runes, and it'll target runes that are around you and destroy them. That way, as you're like approaching a rune, the rune will be destroyed. You settle down to the grueling task of weeding out all of the useless spells. You hope you can find a spell that lets you destroy specific things in an area without having to touch them yourself. Your list soon narrows down to 2 spells: Acid Rain and Storm Tornado. Okay, I'm going to look into Storm Tornado. Also, are my headphones just in a weird position? My arm keeps like hitting the headphones, so I'm like reaching between the wire, and it's really weird. Are they normally not like this? I don't know, it's different. This spell can be used to create a small tornado that sucks in all loose objects and destroys them. The area of effect is small, and the tornado doesn't last long. This is the final spell you needed to unlock access to the private library of Merrick's home. Okay. Dun 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 dun. I don't know what's up with like the Merrick's home thing. Also, I don't like that the area of effect of Storm Tornado is small. Like I said before, I'm trying to get rid of runes in areas before I enter those areas. Because if I enter the area that's filled with runes, then I'll end up with a problem because now I won't be able to cast magic at all. So it has to be something that's like always on that can get rid of runes before I enter the area that the runes are in. So I'm going to now look into Acid Rain, or look into the spell Acid Rain. Storm Tornado seems like it'd be fine if you didn't have to worry about getting so close to the rune area. You can't find any actual research on the spell. It seems to be a theoretical spell that Merrick was planning on creating. Merrick was a highly skilled wizard, expert in the dark arts, and the mentor of the first wizard lord. Interesting. So, Acid Rain was theoretical. I wonder if Acid Rain is what you're looking for. If the spell can destroy specific objects within a large range passively, or specific types of objects, then it would be perfect. I'm going to attempt to finish Merrick's work on the Acid Rain spell. Oh, we're at 0 already? Oh, we ran out of time. Oh, we're like 7 minutes over. Dang it. After a few weeks of studying, you have finished the spell. You decide to test it out in a place where damage wouldn't be an issue. You go to the sewers and cast the spell over the entire area. Well, I guess we won't know whether or not the Acid Rain spell worked. But what did you guys think of this adventure? I thought it was interesting. We had like some unanswered questions when it comes to like who was messing with my character after I won the deathmatch, and why. But I do like the idea of after falling into a trap and then successfully escaping that trap, a wizard working hard to try and make sure that they can never fall into the trap again. If you guys want to see a sequel to this video, definitely let me know in the comment section below or on our Discord. If you want to support the channel, please donate to our Cash App, link in the description. And if you guys have any video ideas, hit me up on Discord. If I like your idea, then I'll charge you $7 per hour length of the video. So if you want a 1 hour video, that's $7, 2 hours, that's $14, 3 hours, that's $21, etc., etc. Also, if you guys have a game that you would like to see me play on like PlayStation 4, but I don't own the game, feel free to hit me up with a Cash App donation, and be like, hey, like buy this game or whatever on PS4, and I'll try my best to like get my hands on it. Anyways, thank you all once again for watching. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Check it about.